Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another MX vs ATV Reflex custom track gameplay, where today we are going to be playing a track that is called Komsomolsk-on-Amur. It's by NikDeLion, and supposedly this track is a replica track of a track that exists in Russia and is on or a part of a ski resort called Haldomi. And I guess he said that there used to be a track called Haldomi there, but then they renamed it to Komsomolsk-on-Amur. So I'm probably totally botching that name, but trying to do my best with getting it right. And this is a pretty interesting track. I've never personally, other than the Russian GP track, seen a track in Russia before. I know that obviously there's a decent enough motocross scene to produce riders the caliber of Evgeny Barbashev, Evgeny Mikhailov, they have Alexander Tonkov, they have just a couple of good riders coming out of there from recent times, and obviously they were able to have an MXGP in Russia, which was kind of a little bit rarefied air given Russia's socioeconomic status, but yeah, I just have never really seen much of motocross in Russia other than that Russian GP track, and didn't really know what to expect. And this one's pretty interesting. Like I said, like it seems somewhat like it's got a sand track base to it, but then there's obviously some really big jumps on it as well, so it can't be that sandy, or I mean I guess it could be, but it doesn't seem like sand is the primary concern here. It seems like there's more like a dirt base and some sand on top, I guess more like a Millville. But the real like true crux of this track that you can see is that it is very, very rough. NikDeLion, we did a track review of his tracks a couple weeks ago, that Green Valley SX track, and this track is extremely rough. I don't know if I've ever done one of his outdoor tracks, but if it's my first attempt doing it, this is pretty dang gnarly how rough this track is. But it's still pretty fun because I feel like for as rough as the track looks, like it actually flows pretty well with the rough. Like it's can be overbearing if you hit it wrong, but honestly it's not too bad. Like you can get a pretty good flow going over it, so I like it. And it's really interesting, like I said, to see a track, a replica track from Russia, so you get a little bit more of an idea of where, you know, perhaps guys like those top Russian riders that race in the MXGP series now, and Evgeny Mikhailov, if you've never heard of him, actually raced AMA Supercross and Motocross for a little while. So could be one of the places that any of those gentlemen honed in their skills a little bit. Not too sure if that's the reality of the situation or not, but still cool nonetheless to see something like it. And the fact that it's on a ski resort is pretty gnarly because, I mean, I can't remember the last time or if I've ever seen a motocross track located near a ski resort other than Mammoth Motocross, which is closed most of the year anyway. And that's not even actually really that close to the resort. It's kind of off in its own little like area, and yeah, so it's kind of cool, I guess, because like, and there's a free ride map to download with this too that you could check out and go see the ski resort for yourself. But he like actually built, or somebody built, I don't want to give someone the wrong credit if they actually did build it, but somebody built like a ski resort house off there on the right, you can see, and there's like a basketball court, a parking lot, all this stuff. So like it's no joke, like it's actually you know, right next to the ski resort, if it is a full replica and that's where the ski resort is, which I can only assume. You know, I could be completely wrong, but gonna just take NikDeLion's word for it. And I was also a little curious that he seemed to know a lot about this track and the history of it, so I wonder if Nick is from Russia. I didn't know where he was from. I assumed he was not from the United States, but that's pretty cool if he is from Russia, or if he has been to this track or knows more about it. That's pretty awesome. Because like I said, I feel like I'm pretty in tune with what goes on in the motocross world, and I know little to nothing about Russian motocross, or the types of tracks that are even there, or how that works with getting their bikes to the track, and what it's like to own a motorcycle in Russia. Because I know that, you know, sometimes we make a big fuss about them not being like a capitalist society per se. Like, yes, there is some capitalist ideas within the Russian society, but it is more or less a communist society still, a little bit. It's not as bad as it was during like the Stalin and Lenin years, but there's very little trade that I know of that goes on between Russia and other countries, and they're very self-sufficient economy, which is good, you know, but you don't hear much about Russian people per se making it big in other sports. Formula One was one of the few sports that I've seen a Russian even compete in recently, so kind of cool to see Russia get a little bit on the map when it comes to the sports world. But in general, like I said, I don't know much of anything about motocross in Russia because you don't see much of it because it's not talked about, I guess, that much either. But that was, I mean, that's just really interesting. Like, I actually watched a pretty interesting video not too long ago of a elite level snowboarder that was like apparently the world's fastest downhill snowboarder. Like, he set the downhill speed record on a snowboard, and he got to take a tour into North Korea. And not that I'm saying Russia and North Korea are anywhere in the same, but he got to go to like this ski resort that was secluded and in the hills and just like way away from anything that's in society. And honestly, I just don't feel like you find many motocross tracks that are like that anymore. You don't, because, you know, a motocross track exists in essence to be in business by generating the most revenue from people coming to it. And so if you don't live near an area where there's a lot of people living, it's pretty unlikely that, you know, the motocross track is going to succeed or anything like that. So the fact that this track apparently exists in and around a ski resort is kind of baffling to me because, you know, a ski resort is usually a place that's pretty secluded and not many people live in or around the area, and you come to it obviously for like a vacation destination. So that's interesting. Like, I wonder if it's like you load up the bike and you load up the skis and or snowboard and just head up to the mountains for a couple days and spend a weekend at the resort, ride your dirt bike in the afternoon time, I guess, when it would be like the hottest out, and then, you know, snowboard or ski in the morning, and then finish it out on the slopes at night, and then go back to the resort. Like, that'd be a pretty fun vacation, I think. I would really enjoy going on something like that. But like I said, I've just never heard of it. So, would be curious to know more about this track. If anybody that's watching this video has more information, potentially, or just about any tracks that resemble this that may or may not be close to a ski resort that have a similar setup to this, just would be kind of cool to hear about. But yeah, in general, I feel like this track is pretty good to play, pretty fun, has a good flow, and the bumps, although quite big, like I said, as long as you're going fairly fast, I feel like they work pretty well. Aesthetically, the track looks pretty good, like the hillsides that he built into it and all the trees laid around it, and then the actual on-track decals and stuff look pretty good too. So I'd give it a pretty solid rating. I'm not going to rank it, but I like the track. Would recommend downloading. And kind of excited that he came out with another track so quick, did NikDeLion. I actually had planned to do another track, which I probably will still do at some point, maybe next week. And when I logged on to check out some of the tracks that were available today, including that one that I was going to do, I saw this track popped up, and I thought it looked pretty cool, interesting, good, whatever you want to call it, so decided to give it a go. And here I am, giving it a go. I like this, like, over-under bridge that you can kind of scrub it down, send it to flat. So one time I haven't landed it as I'm talking about it, but most of the time you can just kind of send it out to flat and it lands no problem. 2 over-under bridges too. Interesting. So one more lap coming up. I'm gonna try to do my best to smash my 136.05. Ooh, not gonna do it by hitting the reflex stick a bunch. Not gonna do it by starting the lap like that either. Let's see what I can get out of this lap regardless. I'm gonna tuck to the inside here. It's interesting too to see a basketball court there. Like right next to a track. I'm just trying to make any comparisons I can to motocross tracks I've seen before. I've just never seen something like quite like this, where there's a whole like vacation destination, resort, whatever, built near the track. Like the closest thing I can think of that I've been to would be Paula, because Paula Casino and Resort is maybe a mile and a half from Paula Raceway. So, I mean, even in that sense, it's not really even that close. And I know that there are tracks that exist out there that like the hotel and stuff like that are close by, but I guess I'm drawing a blank on what those are. So it's just unique. It's a very unique setup. And see, I haven't even crashed in any of these big bumps yet. So it shows you just how good they work. All right, one more time, scrubbing it down. Oh, I'm jumping left. So my attempt at laying down an sub 36 lap time seems to have proved futile. But I still had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys had some fun watching this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as per usual, and hit you up with any comments, questions, or concerns you have. I always like talking to y'all guys. And download the track in the description below. Thanks to NikDeLion for building the track. Fun times to be had. And I hope to see you guys in our future videos on the channel. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.